Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops of Great Millstone, who very well, very beautifully. Double salutations to the Achaemenid who pushing the gospel in truth and in sincerity to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, from upon your houses. It's your brother Quanah Watts from the Arizona Great Millstone Camp. Come back at you, Lord will, with that edifying lesson to the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord will. It is straight to the point, Lord will. It is edifying. And in this lesson, I ultimately want to touch on, the last two major prophecies, right, to take place, right before the most sought after, prophecy, which is what? The deliverance of the elect, Lord will be of that number, man. The last two major prophecies are, Jacob's trouble, right, which is the next major prophecy to take place, and then World War III, which is to ultimately again take place right after, Jacob's trouble hits, right? The peak of World War III, which we know is when these nations, right, ultimately hit that button, right, where they ultimately, fire off those ICBM nuclear missiles, right, and majority of those missiles hit their target, right? The main target being who? Right, America. Right, Babylon the Great, the virgin daughter of Babylon, right? So we're going to start off right here. I have an article, right, that ultimately goes into, and shows you, right, the escalation, right, or the heightened tensions between, Israel, America, right, which America backs Israel financially, even the UK, versus, first the Palestinians right over there in Gaza. Then you have Yemen, right, Lebanon, Iran, and now Syria, right, getting into the mix, right? Which we were told that these things will ultimately arise, right? It was prophesied that wars and rumors of wars, right, would be a sign of the end of this world, right? And the beginning, right, of the one to follow, right, which we know is going to be the kingdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, by default, the kingdom of Israel, as the elder apostle Gabar states, right? So let me grab this first. In Matthew, the 24th chapter, it says, Matthew chapter 24 and verse 3, it says, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world?" Right? The end of what world? Right? The end of Esau Edom's world, right? Going back, right, to that word world, right? Going back to the, the Greek word aion, meaning an age, right? It says, and Yahweh Shai answered, right? And we're again going back to the age of Esau Edom's rulership, man. We're at the end of Esau Edom's rulership, man. But nonetheless, it says, verse 4, it says, and Yahweh Shai answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. Right? Here it is, right? And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, which we're hearing them, man. Right? We're hearing of the, the rumor of war between, North Korea, and America, right? Constantly threatening America, right, to drop nuclear bombs and whatnot. The threatening, right, of war between America and China, right, over Taiwan, right? These are the rumors that we hear, right? Say, hey, North Korea's pissed. North Korea's this is what's happening, right? This is what North Korea is saying. They're testing their missiles, so on and so forth. And then you have what? Wars, man, right? You got rumors of wars, which was just pointed out, and then you got actual wars that are taking place, right? Again, between Israel and those so-called Muslim nations, right? As we know, is Iran, Lebanon, Yemen, again, is Syria, right? The Palestinians, right? The war, right? That with Israel, which again, America backs Israel, has given, Israel, weaponry, right? Missile defense systems, financial aid, right? To continue to purchase these weapons, right? To continue to fight that war, and aid their agenda, And then you also have what? You have America backing Ukraine, right? Which recently we just seen that, right? That Ukraine was ultimately firing, American-made missiles into Russia, right? And Russia, flexed back hella hard, and shot off an ICBM, a nuclear capable ICBM on Ukraine, right? Saying that, hey, we could have wiped y'all out right now. We could have dropped a nuke on you right now. But see, yet nothing has, ultimately transpired. And see, now you have this situation, right, with Israel attacking Syria, which Russia has military bases in Syria, right? It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. That's right, man. And we're going to leave it right there. And we're going to go into this article, right? And it's on the new, blacklisted end time headlines, like it. Israel continues to airstrike Syria while uncertainty rises about Russian bases, right? There was just ultimately a strike, right, from America and Israel, right, into Syria, right, and what they're perceiving to be a base where, Iranian-backed, militias, right, were ultimately creating, and supplying missiles, man, right? So they went ahead and attacked, right, deep in Syria, right? I think it's the capital, which is Damascus, right, is where America and Israel, right, shot those missiles, right? It says, in northern Syria, Turkey-backed opposition fighters are still battling U.S. allied Kurdish forces, while both Israel and the U.S. launched airstrikes on Syria on Sunday. There is also uncertainty surrounding two Russian bases, right? President Bashar al-Assad fled Damascus with his family on Sunday morning, and their whereabouts were unknown until Russia state media confirmed that they had been given asylum in Moscow on humanitarian grounds, right? Sources also told Russian media the Kremlin had struck a deal with Syria's rebel leaders to guarantee the safety of its bases in the country as part of arrangements that saw Mr. Assad head to Russia, right? It says Moscow, a staunch backer of the Assad regime, has the strategically important Hemaim air base in Syria's Latakia, if I'm saying these words right, Salakia, right, province, and a naval facility in Tartus, its only Mediterranean repair and replenishment hub, right? It says, Salak. It says, despite the deal, some Russian war bloggers have said the situation around the bases remain intense, right? It says Rybar, a Russian war blogger close to the country's defense ministry, said Russia's military presence in the Middle East region hangs by a thread. What anyone decided in high offices is absolutely irrelevant on the ground. Russian warships have left Tartus and taken up positions at sea for security reasons, Rybar added. The account, which has more than 1.3 followers on blah, 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 blah. It says, meanwhile, U.S. and Israel and the U.S. have conducted separate airstrikes in Syria since Assad's regime collapsed. The U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, said its forces had aimed dozens of airstrikes at Islamic State targets in central Syria to ensure it does not take advantage of the uncertainty. A senior official in the Biden administration said the U.S. has also been focused on making sure chemical weapons controlled by the new regime are secured, right? Basically trying to take control, right? It says, while there will be no role for the U.S. ground troops, the official said the U.S. would work to ensure the safety of chemical weapons stockpiles in the country, which have in the past been used on rebels, but they did not elaborate on how that would be achieved. And we understand that Edom, has he stated, oh, chemicals or weapons of mass destruction, so on and so forth, right? Which we know, right, that whole, war in Iran, right? War with, I think it was Iran or Iraq with George Bush and whatnot, right? They're saying that, hey, there was, chemicals of mass destruction, or it's like weapons of mass destruction, right, in the Middle East, and they got to go in there and do their bidding. We'll see, hey, that was all a lie, right? That was all a conjured up lie, which Esau got the masses to believe, right? Which ultimately created more conflict, It created more conflict, which 2 Corinthians 2:11, where we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, his evil intent, right? His evil schemes and plots, right? So we understand that this is all to build towards, his agenda, man. Which we see right now, right? You gotta, going back to the Mazzini Pike plan, right? Esau Edom, had laid out, a plan, right, for 3 world wars. Right, and see, we're seeing the fulfillment of that third plan, where Esau Edom basically wants to take the Zionist regime, right, and put him up against the Muslim world, and you have, even that prince or whatever his name is of Saudi Arabia, right? He had called at one moment for all Muslim countries to band together. So did the Iranian leader, Asalami, or it's like if I said his name wrong, man. Al-Salami, there's been multiple different calls for, the Muslim worlds to band together, which again goes right back to that Third World War plan that Esau has, conjured up. Right, we're seeing the fulfillment of that, man. Which ultimately goes back to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, because he's in control of all things, right? All things obey his will, pursuing the Sirach, the 18th chapter, the 3rd verse, right? So this is really Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, right? Ultimately setting things up, right, to fulfill what? Prophecy, man. As we see it taking place, right? And as we see, right, again, who's at the forefront, right, of this war, right? Who's the one that's really, adding to the fire? Yes, America, right? But who's the face, right? It goes back to the small hats, man. They're the ones that are really adding to the fire, because even Zelensky, right, over in Ukraine, right, his lineage goes back to the small hats, man. His lineage goes back to the small hats, right? The JOOs, the 1948ers, right? Benjamin Yahoo, right? The head of Israel, right, is a small hat, right? So, as it says right here, was it Jeremiah? Jeremiah chapter all right, this is Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 45. It says, therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua, that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them, right? And the least of the flock, right, is going back to the small hats, right? The 1948ers, man, the JOOs, right? The Jewish people, right? Which we know, again, right there at the forefront, right, of these wars that are happening, right? You got Benjamin Netanyahu, right, who's basically, you had European countries, right, even the UK, basically state that they were going to follow, that international arrest warrant, that basically was placed on him, right, as well as a small number of European, countries basically agreeing to that as well, right? And then you got Zelensky, right, who is, his lineage goes back to the Jewish people as well, man, right? So these small hats, right, which we know this is really going over there, those that are over there in America, or those that are over there in the land, right, the small hats over there, right, really the problems that they're causing. But see, again, right, they're spread all over, man, So again, right, we know that they are the ones that are causing these situations to arise, right, furthering, this war, right, through adding fuel to the fire. And I want to add, get into this Jeremiah chapter 30 and I'll just hit the point in verse 7. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it.
It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So this is describing, right, a time that's soon to come, right? And we know that, right, by, measuring out the time diligently in itself, as we read in Second Ezra, the 9th chapter, right? How do we do that, right? We take these events that are happening, certain laws being established, certain, mindset, right, that these damn devils have, right? And we filter that through the scriptures, right? Again, identifying, right, that we are in the time where, Revelations 13 and verse 16, which we know is the hour of, which we know is the, basically the implementation of the Charagma, which we know is the RFID micro CHIP, right, is soon to be in play, right? Again, as it says in Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3, right? The vision is set for an appointed time, and at the end it shall speak, and is speaking, right? This is on the peoplesvoice.tv. It says Australia rolls out digital ID system with plans for carbon tracking and social credit scores, right? Which, this has been something that's been really talked about heavy by the, the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, and Noah Yuval Harari, right? They've been really talking about this, right? The fourth fourth industrial revolution, right? Or mechanics or biometrics, right? Is basically going to be, implemented, right? And they're basically trying to merge man and machine, man, which is, again, leading to, right, the implementation of the RFID micro CHIP, right? It says the Australian government is making significant strides towards total digital surveillance and control with the digital ID bill that combines 128 personal documents and indicators into a centralized government system, right? 2 Corinthians 2 and 11, right? We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We're not ignorant of his plots and schemes. So even though he does, right, say that these things, this for, it's for, so that you don't lose your wallet. It's for, it's so, you don't have to do this or that, the third, just by the touch of your hand, right? You'll have all these different things, your medical records and so on and so forth, right? The convenience, right? Esau playing on the convenience, right? Esau is the wicked, right? He wants to establish his agenda, right? And we understand that he, is going to use, wicked and evil means, right, to do so, right? Such as deceiving, right? Lying to the people, right? As well as, basically putting, a digital tracker, so to speak, right, into these people, man. Which according to the the law, right, Leviticus the 19th chapter, it tells you they're not supposed to make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, right? Not making any cuttings into your flesh, man, which that goes all the way back to basically, right, inserting anything as well, right, because it makes a cut, right, to go into your skin, right, to push whatever under your skin, or into your body, right? It says this system is designed to streamline identification across various sectors such as banking and credit, and potentially extend to carbon usage tracking and social credit scores in the future, right? Which we know that Klaus Schwab, right, said that China, will be a good example, right, to follow, which because they ultimately implement that system over there, right, as we speak. Right, it says earlier this week, the Australian government also implemented strict regulations regarding social media access, right? It says children under 16 will now be banned from accessing social media, which many see as a precursor to more widespread ban for usage of all ages, which again, that ultimately is, because they tell you, right, in an article I read on the situation is that you have to input, your ID, right, into the system, right, in order to be able to, access, right, certain, really to access the internet and certain websites, right? Again, making people get used to needing, an ID, and they're trying to say you need a digital form of that ID in order to, access the internet, So it's not necessarily, about, right, the age restriction or 16, and protect the children. No, it's not. Right, it's to get people used to needing, right, some type of digital identification in order to access things, man. Just like there was a video going around the body that, this dude basically went up, it looked like he was trying to get a beer or really a drink or something like that. The glass cases in the back of the stores, QT, Chevrons, you know what I mean, Circle K's, whatever store convenience store, 7-Eleven, whatnot, the glass doors, right? I remember at one point in Walgreens, they were actual screens, digital screens, thick doors. You had basically a sensor on the, the handle on the right-hand side, and then the sensor right above the top of the door, right, which you needed to basically wave your hand or whatnot, right, in order to access that, right, which we know, again, that's a precursor to what's really coming. You're going to need the C-hip in order to access, right, those things, right. Well, now it's to the point where you have to really, right, and again, going back to the video, right, the dude had to really give up his ID, go over to a machine on the side, have his ID scanned, and then the doors would unlock, right, for him to be able to access those things. Again, getting you people ready for a completely new digital system, right? It says critics warn that this could serve as a means of further controlling online discourse by enabling the government to restrict access to social media platforms at their discretion. Again, it's all about control, right? Let's grab this real quick in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 4, right? Getting to the point, right? It says, this is the mindset of Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? Beginning with the elite banker families on down to these regular peons out here, right? It says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And this is what Esau is ultimately trying to do, right? We see the situations that are happening with this Daniel guy, right? And how he, basically got acquitted, right, of all the crimes that he committed. And then, you got basically, the so-called black community, already up in arms about it, right? You got a civil war, right, about to really pop off, And then at the same time, right, Esau talking about putting tariffs upon these nations, which, would directly affect the consumer, and stating that they don't care about it. They don't care how it would affect the American consumer, right? And again, all of this is happening at the same time that Esau's, Trump is basically setting up, right, for a mass deportation. These laws are Senate Bill 72, right? All these things are in play right now, man, right? For Esau to become your perpetual ruler, right? By him implementing this RFID micro C-hip, it would, automatically set him up as perpetual ruler over you people, right? Going back to, that old, right? The law of, the slave, right? And the slave that ultimately did, that loved to, dwell with his master, or with his master, right? I think it's Deuteronomy, the 15th chapter, You can start around the 12th verse, but I think the point is in verse 17, right? Going into that all, right? If the servant ultimately, was pleased to dwell with his master and wanted to stay there, right? The master would ultimately thrust an awl into his ear, more like an earring, right? And he would become his perpetual master, and he would become his perpetual slave. Esau is basically trying to implement a digital version of that, right? Again, trying to set himself up as the Most High, And again, the way he's going to do is by way of these RFID micro C-hips, man. Which if you don't have, right, you're not going to be able to, participate in the society and or, right, be killed, man, which we're going to grab. This is as social credit scores. It says the expanded Australian government digital ID system, right, is rolling out in 4 phases in the coming year, right, 2025, right, which may overlap or be preceded by pilots. The digital ID bill passed the Australian Senate in April this year, and critics warn the growing push for carbon tracking and social credit scores in Australia present significant threats to civil liberties and privacy, right? So social credit scores which track individuals' behavior across various aspects of life, including financial transactions, social interactions, and online presence, pose an obvious threat to freedom of speech and privacy, which is Esau's already gotten rid of that. Right? This is why he's coming so hard on the Men of the Lord's channels and, calling out for, saying that we're committing medical misinformation, right? When we're pulling out information that he allows to be put out there, right? But the fact that we're speaking on it and, again, pairing it and coupling it, and marrying it with the scriptures, right? Again, it cuts Esau Edom in his agenda. So he labels it, misinformation and disinformation and medical misinformation and whatnot, hate speech and so on and so forth, man. Right? So Esau already got rid of that freedom of speech. That shit's long gone, man. It says, which you people, you Americans believe that you have, but you don't. Right? It says the system works by evaluating citizens based on their activities, both online and offline, potentially punishing those whose actions or opinions do not align with state-approved standards. Right? Wanting to be in control. Right? It's all about control. Right? Esau doesn't want any free thinkers. Right? As they say in the world, Esau doesn't want that. He wants everybody to follow his standards, right? It says right here in China, which we mentioned earlier, a social credit system has already been implemented and its potential for abuse is widely discussed. Citizens there face consequences ranging from travel ban to social ostracism if their scores fall too low. Here you go, right? And then it drops into carbon tracking, right? That if you're ultimately matter of fact, let's get into it. It says carbon usage tracking introduces another layer of potential government control. While the goal of reducing carbon footprints to combat climate change may seem noble, like carbon usage to personal freedom can become problematic. If a government can track and restrict an individual's carbon emissions, it might begin regulating personal behavior in ways that could affect day-to-day life. For instance, it can impose penalties or restrictions on the amount of energy you use in your home, the kind of transportation you take, or even your dietary choices, all based on how much carbon you are deemed to be emitting. So Esau is wanting to control everything that you do, man. This is a complete dystopia, right? Esau's trying to make it where, you won't be able to have to carry any of your paperwork around. You'll just have it at, the swipe of a hand, or, he's making groceries, right? Make the process seem easy by saying, hey, you ain't got to deal with the cash register, right, or cashier. You could just walk in and out, right? The Amazon Go Market, right? It's like you. Right, the Amazon Go Market, as well as other aspects of life, right? The sort of such as the healing, right? Esau over here acting like he can really heal you people, man. Like he's doing miracles, man. Which we all know that those are really aren't true miracles, man. Esau is is right. We're on track to for the fulfillment of Revelations. The 13th chapter, which I'm going to get into right now. This is Revelation chapter 13, and we'll start at verse 14, right? Since we talked about those miracles, right? It says, Revelation 13 and 14, it says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, which is, this is, talking about, the different, right? The healings, right? The dude that was, a quadriplegic, or sorry, a paraplegic, right? He couldn't walk, right? Because of a car accident he got into, right? Because, he had taken, right, the brain C hip. Right now he was able to make new connections in his, from his spine and whatnot, and in his brain. And now he's able to move his legs and this and the third, bypassing all the trauma and the injury that he had and sustained for 10 to 15 years, And then you also have a man that's basically, a quadriplegic, right, from the neck down. Right, he put a brain C hip in his head, and now he's able to, connect with the computer, which they call the BCI, brain computer interface, man. He's able to talk. He's able to do all different types of things, right, through the computer. These are these miracles that Esau Edom is presenting to the world, right, as miracles, right, which again we know really aren't miracles, man, right? It says, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had a wound by a sword and did live, which we know what that's going back to the Roman Empire, right? Which really America, right, is the Roman Empire reincarnated, man. Really Rome 2.0, right? That's why it says and did live, right? Because that Roman Empire is really living through America today, right? And the beast, which we know is NATO in the EU, right? It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, right? That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Which the image of the beast is going into this philosophy that Roman, that Greco-Roman philosophy that's being pushed in the world and has been pushed in the world for centuries, man. Right? Right, since America has been established, right, as America, right, going back to 1776. That's a few hundred years, man. You know, we're pushing up on 250 years that America has been empowered, right? Which, when you go back into the history, right, usually these nations, these rulerships, right, only last 250 years, man. Right, so this next year, right, or the next couple years, right, Lord will, sooner than later, right, are going to be the last, days of America's rulership, man. Right, which we're already looking at the fall of this rulership. Job 14:5, you're giving him bounds that he cannot pass, right? But again, right, we still have to go through that last push, right? Esau knows that he has but a short time, right? So this is why he's coming down, right, and trying to set up certain laws and make certain actions and certain moves so quick, man, right, to establish his NWO, right? Which means everybody's gonna have to take the charagma, right, the RFID micro C hip, right? As it says right here, verse 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a MARK in their right hand or in their foreheads. Again, when you go back to that word MARK, right? In the Greek, it's charagma, right? Which we know the charagma is the RFID micro C hip, man, right? And if you're not going to take that, right, you're not going to be able to participate again in society, as we read, right? It says, in that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the MARK or the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? So if you don't have this micro C hip, right? If you don't have this, which is, again, this is, Esau was talking heavy about the micro C hip, right, in the beginning of the scamdemic, right, the lockdown and whatnot, right? Esau was talking about that heavy, man. The government was talking about making a C hip, right, that's, basically microscopic, that can go into your body and detect the different, viruses that you may have or whatnot before you have them, and so on and so forth, right? So he's been talking about this shit, man, right? This technology has already been mass produced, right? Esau is just waiting for a situation, right, that will allow him to offer up, that solution, right? Order out of chaos. Esau's trying to basically, create that chaos. And this is why you see, right, this whole Daniel dude being acquitted, and, all these different situations that are arising. You know what I mean? You have, what's his face? Diddy and Jay-Z situation arising, which that shit's really just a distraction, man. Right? Esau, really, he was the first one to be caught with it, right? Going back to Epstein, right? So what did he do? He basically, pulled two Jakes, man, and threw them in the, and made them the face of the wickedness and evil that is happening. But really, he's the face of it, man. And he's trying to, ultimately acquit, or be, acquit himself. But hey, the Lord's not going to acquit this damn devil, man. Right? When Esau thinks that he's going to be, able to establish his NWO, the Lord is going to strike him down, man. Let's read that one. We'll close out. Right? This is Job chapter 20. Sorry, too far. And verse 23. I'll start at verse 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Right? Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And that word wicked is going back to laborers, man. Like the everyday people. Esau made the situation, right, so bad, right? Inflation is taking place, right? Jobs are, they're saying hundreds of thousands of jobs are being created, but that's not true. Jobs are being lost. Companies are closing down business, man. Banks are shutting down. Everything's going digital. Robots are starting to pop up at people's jobs and shit, man. And people are seeing that. But yet Esau keeps pushing this agenda that everything's going to get better, everything this, that, and the third, right? Just like Trump, when he came in and said he was going to make America great, right? Well, that's not true, man. When they shall say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction come upon them, man. Hey, destruction is coming, man. Jacob's trouble is right around the corner, right? These people are gonna rise up against their system, man. You know, and it's gonna be, you know, second Ezra the 15th chapter, right, from verse 14 down to 19. That's gonna take place. But see, this is what Esau Edom wants, right? Because he's gonna use this situation to bring forth a solution to the problem. You know, which is gonna be again his RFID micro C hit. You know, so he's gonna put the people. He's gonna force these people, right, to need and to take this charagma. Right, so while Esau Edom is doing that, hey, the Lord ain't going to let him really, you know, get full, man. It says, verse 23, when he's about to fill his belly, meaning when he's about to finally establish his NWO, right? It says, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. You know? He going to rain on his parade, man. He going to rain on his parade for sure, man. Esau trying to establish himself as the Most High, being perpetual ruler forever. But see, Yahweh Shai, when he comes, right, he gonna cast him down, man. He gonna cast him down. Pursuant to, matter of fact, let's grab it. Right, pursuant to 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 24, it says, then come at the end, again, the end of Esau Edom's rulership, right? Which again, the disciples, right, going full circle. The disciples inquired of this. When shall be the end? And again, we have all the different signs and what they're leading to, right? As we just went into, right? Verse 24 says, then come at the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to the Most High, even the Father, when he shall put down all rule and all authority and power, right? Casting down Esau, Edom, and these other nations, right? That ultimately are trying to, you know, ride this NW wave, this dystopian wave with him, right? And Yahushua going to set up a righteous rulership, right, in their stead, man. Right? So this is why we see all these things taking place, right? Because all these things must come to pass, right? Before, right, the righteous kingdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua can be established, man. You know? Well, that's all I really got, man. Lord wills, I had to find Lord will straight to the point. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash, double honors to the elder apostles, elder bishops, the great millstone. Till next time, I say shalom.